In this mini projects episode, we'll take a look at a problem that a friend was having with the windows on his 2009 Chevy HHR. 3 out of the 4 windows worked just fine, but the driver's side window wasn't doing so well. Using the switch in the door, you could get it to roll down, but it kinda didn't want to go back up. With some extra pressure and wiggling of the switch and luck, you could get everything to line up just right, I guess, and then the window would roll back up. But it wasn't consistent, and you definitely wouldn't want to get the window stuck down in a rainstorm. And since all the other windows operated normally, even using this same switch, it seemed pretty obvious that it was a physical problem inside of the switch, so we went ahead and took the door apart. In reality, it could be quite a few things, including a problem with the connector or damaged wiring, but in all likelihood it was a problem with the contacts inside of the switch itself. The interior door panel came off surprisingly easy with just, I think, 3 bolts and a handful of clips around the exterior. A standard plastic door trim removal tool made this job very easy. The interior door panel then slides up and off of the locking arm, and you can disconnect the electrical connectors and remove the cable for the door handle. And with the inner panel completely removed for convenience, we were able to remove the switch and, luckily, easily get it apart. We were able to get the switch out of the door panel and take it apart with just some flathead screwdrivers and a little bit of careful prying. The switch is just held together with plastic tabs around the perimeter, and luckily it is pretty easy to get it apart. Here we're looking at the bottom pads of the switches themselves, as well as the membrane which sits on top of the circuit board. The membrane simply lifts off, and with some more very careful prying, we were able to separate the 2 halves of the circuit board. It's pretty crazy how complicated modern cars are. Heck, this one is 10 years old, and this is what the driver's side window switch looks like. Anyway, we gave the circuit boards a visual once-over, and everything looked to be in good shape, so we took a closer look at the contacts. This type of membrane switch opens and closes circuits in an extremely simple way. 2 separate circuit board traces come near each other in this disc shape, but don't actually connect. The connection is only made when this copper disc on the membrane side is pressed against that board. And anytime the flow of current is opened and closed like this, especially on a DC system, there's a little bitty spark. And over time, that sparking will start to burn the contacts or actually eat away at them. This, along with oxidation or dirt on contacts, are usually the reasons switches fail unless you frequently activate your window switches with the 4-pound hammer. On this window switch, we can see some little itty-bitty dark areas on the circuit board where it's been burned. And if we look at the membrane side of the switch on the little copper discs, the burning is even more evident. Interestingly, the front driver's side switch, which is the one with 3 contacts for the auto down, I assume, doesn't look nearly as bad as the contacts for the other switches, although it's the one with the issue. But what we'll do is go around and make all of the contacts as clean as possible and see if that fixes the issue. This abrasive dish cleaning pad did the job. After a few minutes of careful cleaning, the circuit board contacts and those on the membrane switch are shiny and look like new. So we reassembled the window switch and hooked it back up to the connectors in the door and gave everything another test. And there you have it. The window switch is now working as it's supposed to. The window rolls back up on command without any weird wiggling of the switch. And the other functions on the switch still work, including control of the other windows. And with everything working, we reassembled the door panel and made another final test to make sure everything was working properly. And since performing this repair, the windows have been working perfectly for the last 2 months. It's funny, all that circuitry in the switch, and it was defeated in the same way that electrical switches always have been.